Everyone gets a phone. Only Elaine figured that out. Elaine is smart and observant.
What else would have happened?
Exactly. Oh wait, I'm talking. Wait. I guess. I ate so much. It's not gonna take me that long to get this.
That one cookie and that one piece of chocolate.
I regret
Or
everything.
large amounts of food.
I regret everything.
You didn't even have that much.
I have so much. I have so much. Remember when Daeny ran his theory drill?
Oh my god.
What the heck is going on? Yeah. Okay. That was really bad. As the leader of the affirmative team, I strongly affirm today's resolution that the U.S. federal government should mandate everyone wearing body cameras. All right. First of all, framework. Okay, I didn't define body cameras, but cameras that you, whatever. Mandate, just like order, right? Planned after U.S. federal government, time frame as soon as possible, funding through normal ways and means, and our plan text is that the U.S. federal government, as soon as possible, will provide every citizen of the United States with body cameras to be worn and be turned on all the time, and will provide children with body cameras to be worn starting from the time they can walk. And the data from these cameras will be sent to the government. Okay, we're going to address it was just cover like loopholes. That's fine. I realize that it doesn't cover like legal undocumented immigrants, but I don't really care. So moving on. First contention is national security. So right now in the status quo, I'm not gonna write what I wrote in my paper, but there are a lot of there's this huge terrorist threat, and right now anti-American sentiment is at the highest that it's been in years, according to the Pew Research Center, and it's really like drastically increased in recent years. It really, because of a lot of really stupid things that we're doing overseas. A lot of our foreign policy and our military policy, for example, drones and airstrikes, they make people mad, right? So that's bad because people are gonna they're like, oh, we don't like you because you're killing us. So then they're like, okay, well, why don't I get back at you, right? So, and so even people in America may try to join these groups, like American citizens in the status quo actually already want to join these terrorist groups, want to join ISIS, and so there's a threat from them. There's a threat of domestic terrorism and even possibly international terrorism from American citizens, right? So we can stop the threat of that. Like, we can stop that from happening. We can prevent that from happening. Because, as I said before, our plan text mandates that the body cameras have to be on all the time. And then all the footage goes to the government. So the government is like, the government can look at potential terrorist threats and be like, oh, and they can see any illegal activity that's happening, right? So not
Question.
no. After this contention. Yeah, okay, so anyways, so we can stop potential terrorist attacks from America. We can stop people from trying to contribute to terrorist attacks to do domestic terrorism and stuff. Even if you just look at domestic terrorism, which would be like the shooting at Planned Parenthood, you can stop that. You can stop people who are like, oh, I'm gonna go shoot them down, and they're buying their guns, and they're talking, and I don't know, they're they're just gonna, anyways. Yeah, so we can stop that, and we can save lives. This is a huge risk. This is a huge impact on the round. This is the biggest impact in today's round. After I finish my impacts, right? So this is a huge impact in today's round, and we need to be considering this. This is really important. I've wasted 3 minutes on this. Yes. 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 It will be a job. Anyway. It will be a job. Okay. Moving on to address. So anyways, we're saving lives. Moving on to address this. What?
Are these cameras waterproof and or shockproof?
Yes.
Question. How much do these cameras cost?
I don't know, but it doesn't matter because we're saving lives. Alright, anyways. Any more questions?
None at this time.
Alright. Okay, so our second contention today is about ending discrimination. According to the University of South Florida, when body cameras were worn by police officers, the use of force incidents dropped by 53% and significantly improved their relations with the communities that they serve. Now, this is significant because it shows that body cameras are actually effective at reducing violence, at reducing like the kind of violence that occurs from discrimination, from the mindset that we have that like, oh, they're worse than us and whatever, right? And it significantly improves community relations, like relations between police and community, which means that there's less chance of violence, there's less chance of miscommunication, and like whatever. I said that in the wrong order. But anyways, links here. So if we have people wear body cameras all the time, like it's not just the police who have this advantage, who can like possibly twist around like whatever, the footage or something, but also the communities would have it as well. Like, people would be able to film each other. Like, you'd get more angles of any possible acts of violence, of any possible interactions between police and their communities, and the people that they're serving or that they're talking to, that they're when they show up to stop like domestic violence or whatever, right? And so, so this will actually like drastically help us end police brutality and discrimination and stuff, because people are like, oh, I'm being watched. I shouldn't beat up this person. I should be a better person. Because, as I said before, all this footage is going to the government, so the government can like possibly punish and like prosecute people who like do bad stuff, right? So we're actually going to end discrimination, or we're going to end the violence that results from that discrimination. So we're going to be saving lives once again. So yeah, the affirmative team is going to save lives. And they talk about like costs and whatever. Okay, so they're going to like be like, oh no, we care more about money than we care about saving people's lives, than we care about ending discrimination and whatever, and police brutality. That's just not right. I don't really care about this topic. I mean, I do care about this topic, but I actually don't like body cameras. So, but you can't use that against me, because, yeah, you can't use that against me. Anyways, don't, whatever. I'm actually interested to see what they run and have done.
How much time does she have left? 43 seconds. She should run jobs or something.
I know, you should run jobs.
43 seconds, go.
Oh, okay, third contention, jobs. So we're going to be making jobs from having, like, sending this footage to the government, and that we're going to need a lot of people, because we're recording, like, all the citizens in the United States, like, at the, like, 24/7. So we're going to need a lot of people to, like, man this and watch the footage and sift through it to find, like, the bad stuff that's happening. And so that's going to boost the economy, because we're hiring people for jobs. Yeah, we're hiring people. And then they can put that money back into consumer spending. And then we'll all be happy. Yeah. There we go.
It's easy enough, have to be said.
Right. Pearl.
Jobs? But your first contention.
Yeah, just write down. Like I said, read off 10 now. I'll go our case, that case. Are we running on case? No, off case then. Are you running theory? Are you running theory? Do I look capable of running theory to you today?
Yes.
Perlin you're talking about.
Perfectly capable of running
Miss,
theory.
I thought. When I read a topicality, I said the other team was very topical.
I remember that very distinctly.
Okay. With that, my time to start now. So as the first speaker of the negation team, shall we negate today's bill? And the U.S. federal government should mandate everyone wearing body cameras. So we have two disads to their part. Oh, shoot, it's okay. Yep. So our first disad is out of privacy. So video footage will capture a broad range of information, including police communications, passports, interiors of private residences. Also, it would require millions of hours of video footage to be stored and analyzed. So, and this is according to CNN. So what this means is that the huge potential to invade other people's privacy, and that's not good. This means that the government is basically enforcing routine surveillance of the public, and that's not good either, because the thing with privacy is that it limits the government's power. With less privacy, government has a lot of power over individuals, because, like I said, like the affirmative team said, they're sending all the footage to the government, and when the government has complete power over their citizens, bad things happen. The more someone knows about us, the more power they have over us. Therefore, the government has the potential to do very terrible things. Yeah. It also restricts the freedom of speech, and it's unconstitutional. So, essentially, body cameras are unconstitutional because people are constantly thinking that they're being watched. And then they're restricted to speak as they want to because in fear that their views will end up getting them hurt in some sort of way because the government is taking all of them, and the government is very bad. Okay, impact of this. Distrust in government. So, when there's distrust in government, it means people do not trust the government. No, and when people do not trust in government, it means that the government is essentially becoming more of a hegemonic force. Reference North Korea, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Everyone in North Korea hates it in North Korea. We don't want to become North Korea. Essentially, we'll become even worse than North Korea with these body cameras. That stuff. Privacy is really good, and the affirmative team is going to limit privacy of people, and she's also restricting free speech. Unconstitutional. Bad. Really bad. Okay. Second disad is masking. So, the affirmative team is masking the argument with their, okay, when they say they're going to end discrimination by providing body cameras for everyone. However, this simply isn't true. We can look at Eric Gardner, who was choked to death by the police in New York, and how he had body cameras on him, or how the police had body cameras on him, and the video was released immediately without being tampered. However, it was ruled as a homicide. It was ruled by a homicide by a medical examiner. However, the policeman who killed him was not punished. So yeah, the problem right now is the criminal justice system. So even if a ton of people have, even if the government has footage of everyone and everything, it's still not going to end discrimination because there's still racism in the criminal justice system. As you can see from the case of Eric Gardner, where the person who killed a innocent man, is not punished at all. There's still racism, and body cameras aren't going to solve this. You can see in the status quo, with the usage of body cameras, they weren't effective in stopping of racial discrimination. So having more body cameras isn't going to do any good anyway. It's not solving the problem. This mandate is only going to make people think we're going to solve the problem, but it's not going to do anything. It's not going to provide justice for all the lots of people who died due to racial discrimination and police brutality. And that's really not good. So with that, I'll move on to refuting the neg case, or A case. Do you have a question? I'm not going to take it now, thank you. So, number 1, national security. Okay, so they don't have every okay, anti-US sentiment. Okay, well the thing is, if we have body cameras for everyone, the anti-US sentiment is going to increase in our own country itself because everyone's going to hate America because the government is corrupt, or is going to become corrupt and start taking advantage of all the footage they have. Additionally, so essentially, it's going to lead to more of a national security threat. Additionally, they don't have access to every single person because there's also undocumented immigrants and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah. So they're not going to save lives. They're not going to save lives because essentially they're going to make even more. They're going to make distrust in the government, which is going to lead to more hatred for the U.S. That's bad. Ending discrimination is not going to end discrimination, because, sure, it's a nice thing to have, but simply it's not happening in the status quo. Adding more isn't going to do any better anyway. Also, jobs. We're going to need a lot of people for these things. Okay. Okay, well, I have nothing for this. Hiring a bunch of people to sift through information and stuff like that, this isn't gonna solve for, I don't know. This isn't gonna solve for anything, because they're gonna need high-skilled people to sift through this footage to see whether or not it's lawful or whether or not it's lawful or not. So it's not gonna solve for unemployment necessarily, or poverty or anything, because the people who they're gonna need to hire are gonna be really skilled. And the affirmative team didn't really say didn't necessarily say what kind of skill level the people they're gonna hire, the people they're hiring. Of the people they're hiring, therefore we need to assume that these people are gonna be high skilled, because this is classified government information. So yeah. So tired. I strongly negate today's resolution. Here we go.
Actually, I need to go off case. Oh, it's off case. Time starts now. Okay. I strongly affirm today's resolution. Let's jump right into the negation team's case. Their first intention is about privacy, and so they tell you that, well, we're gonna invade people's privacy. Okay, fine. Yeah, we do invade people's privacy. I'll admit that. But the thing is, wait, this is the wrong sheet. Okay. Okay. First of all, there are NSA reforms. Oh wait, no. What the heck am I talking about? Anyways, we're gonna be saving lives. This is the most vital thing. This is the most important impact in the round, not privacy or whatever the heck they're talking about, and whatever pretend impacts they had, because they had no impacts. Yeah, but lives are the most important thing. They outweigh. Yeah, okay. Because you can give people privacy, but you can't restore someone to life, right? So I'm looking at to address how they're saying that oh, it restricts the freedom of speech. Oh, it's unconstitutional. They just throw these terms out there at you, and they expect you to say they expect you to do all this work and say oh yeah, this is gonna I don't know how to express it, put you in make us a totally totalitarian society. They expect you to make that connection. There's not that connection. They just don't explain that scenario for you. It's not there. They're not. This isn't. They just literally throw out unconstitutional, but they don't define it for you. They don't tell you that, oh, this is gonna whatever. And don't give me that look, Lily. I know you're gonna say something. Okay. Moving on to address how their impacts. They're saying that oh, the government is bad, and we're gonna increase the distrust in the government. Okay, well, one, you're always gonna have distrust in the government. Whatever. The government actually isn't bad. The government does a whole bunch of welfare programs and stuff. So I mean, and they do education too. So they're educating the population. So you know what? They're actually good. So don't tell me they're bad. Okay. Also, they're saying that the government is going to become a more hegemonic force. Hegemony, good, because that allows us to save lives internationally. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to address. They also talk about North Korea citizens. Nobody cares about North Korea. Moving on to address this second contention. Moving on to address the second contention about masking, which essentially they're trying to cross apply it to our second contention about discrimination, whatever. Okay. First of all, they don't provide you an alternative to body cameras. So we assume that they're advocating for anti-bias training. However, there's no funding for this. In the status quo, the Federal Justice Department actually refused to fund a training program that would do anti-bias training, that would do this, that would do exactly what they're advocating for, that would, in their words, actually, I don't know, do what they say that body cameras aren't doing. So really, they're advocating for something that doesn't have funding. Yay. I'm actually advocating for something that has funding, because in the status quo, if you look it up, Obama's funding police departments all over the United States for body cameras. Okay. They also said that the criminal justice system is the problem. By this, I assume they mean the courts. Okay, so we're literally stopping violence. We're not letting it get to the point where it has to go into court. Like, we're preventing that from even happening. So you can ignore this. Moving on to address the affirmative team's case. Okay, so first contention about national security. They tell you that, like, anti-U.S. sentiment is going to increase within the United States. What can you do? I mean, like, really, it's always going to be there. Yeah. I literally said that there's anti-U.S. sentiment. It's been rising. So, I mean, I agree with this. So, they said that, oh, this doesn't cover undocumented immigrants, because I actually told them that it doesn't cover undocumented immigrants. Okay, that's not a problem, because undocumented immigrants are trying to stay out of trouble in the first place so that they don't get thrown out of the country. Okay. They talk about distrust in government again. Once again, you're not going to get rid of it by not having cameras, by staying with the status quo. Moving on to address the second contention about ending discrimination. So they said that, oh, we're already doing this in the status quo and it's not working. Wait. It's already in the status quo? Yeah. Please solve. I'm going to explain that later when I figure out the refutation. They said that
Relatable.
moving on to address the third contention about jobs. So they say that, oh, you're not going to solve for poverty because we need high-skilled people. Okay, so they're assuming that, like, we can't educate people. Like, yeah. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't really, I don't know. Yeah, they just assume that we're just not going to solve for poverty or anything. Yeah. Educate people. Yeah. I don't really care. I'll make a nice little speech. Going back to the second contention about ending discrimination, so they say that, like, oh, this is already a problem in the status quo. Well, yeah, it is a problem in the status quo, and the problem is that, like, well, first of all, okay, the thing is, the difference between the status quo and what the affirmative team's plan would be doing is that everyone would have body cameras. So, like, literally, so the people who are getting beat up or who are getting, like, hurt by these police officers will have body cameras. The police will have body cameras. We've proven to you that body cameras are actually effective in, like, helping stop this kind of stuff. So by increasing the amount of body cameras that are out there, and yeah, we're going to be able to decrease violence. And the negation team does not seem to understand this. Yes. So I agree with their reputation. That's why we have to change the status quo. I first.
Good job. Such a slow pace to me.
You know, I actually cared about, like, impressing you in Meredith last year. I know what happened to that.
I don't really care. Why is that?
Because
I'm
Meredith
really
doesn't
care
care anymore.
I know.
What, you don't care about impressing me? Wow.
Yeah, no one cares.
I mean, whatever. Poor Lily.
What am I supposed to say? Over our case first.
Can I talk about her runaway? And just say she doesn't care.
Even though it's forced education, I'm still getting education, so it's good. No.
Okay. As the second speaker of the negation, I strongly negate today's resolution that the USFG should mandate everyone wearing body cameras.
carrying out terrorist threats and anti-U.S. sentiment and making people mad. And my partner refuted this by saying that there would be more anti-U.S. sentiment, and not everyone would be documented or have cameras. Okay, so Daenerys came up here and said there's always going to be anti-U.S. sentiment, and something else. Okay, so instead of solving for the anti-U.S. sentiment, the affirmative team is just they're okay. They're causing more anti-U.S. sentiment, which is like increased probability of rebellion or terrorism within the country. But they should be working on solving the problem outside of the country, so that there's less anti-U.S. sentiment outside of the foreign policy. She said sucks. So we should be fixing that instead of putting cameras on everyone, because by solving the foreign policy, we're going to solve the whole problem instead of just scaring everyone with fun. Okay, so she also said that the undocumented people are trying to avoid getting into trouble. Okay, yeah, if they're not being recorded, they can do whatever they want. But even if other people, like, film them and stuff, then they'll get body cameras. Like, this doesn't make sense. You know what? Okay, their second contention was ending discrimination. I'm just gonna go over this with our second contention because it's really messy. And so they said, or Daenerys said, okay, she said that there was no alternative to anti-something.
Oh, I had this.
We don't need an alternative. And we're advocating for something that doesn't have funding. By advocating for something without funding, we can increase the probability that it will eventually be funded, because America is the country of democracy and stuff. So by saying that we want funding, more people will want funding, and they might actually fund it, or else they'll not be democratic, I think. So, stop. Oh, and then she also said that there wouldn't be need for a court, but violence. If people are so scared from this camera stuff because of the privacy issues my partner brought up, then there's still going to be violence because everyone's going to be watched. That's not going to stop violence. Okay, their third contention was that of jobs, and then my partner reviewed this by talking about poverty and high-skilled people, and then Daenerys said they assume we can't educate people and stuff, but no one even wants to do this job of sitting and watching people all day for like 24 hours because it's boring and this job is it's hard to educate people, and I had to think. And you can't watch like however many million Americans there are, because that's just a huge waste of time and money and effort and energy. And forcing people to stare at screens all day for like who knows how many hours, it's just bad for them. No one wants to do this, and that's harming people. Okay, I'm just gonna move on. So our first contention was that of privacy and how millions of hours of video footage and they said no impacts, and we were just throwing out information. and then they said saving lives should be valued over all of this. But no one can live lives without their privacy. Because if they're being watched all day and living in fear that the government is just staring at them, then, they're going to be less productive. Because they're scared and live in fear, which is really bad. And what are you going to do with, these millions of hours of video footage if you're storing them? Video takes up a lot of storage, and there's no point in recording everyone's lives all day, every day. It's unconstitutional. Maris is judging me. Always government distrust. Well, there's going to be more, and that's going to be bad, because people don't trust their government. Why is it bad? Why is it bad? Because the government's supposed to provide for the people, and if the people don't trust the government, then the government's just going to be like, oh, well, we can do whatever we want now.
No, I just saw a contouring video and I was like, while Elaine was speaking. No, I was glowing. Or I was writing my voters.
Nice voter speech.
Oh, ow. Is everyone? Oh, shoot.
Starts now.
No! Okay, fine. As the first final negation speaker, shall I negate today's resolution that the U.S. federal government should mandate everyone wearing body cameras. So, we have 3 voters today as to why we believe that the negation team is clearly wrong today's debate. Our first is that of privacy. So we've repetitively said that it's unconstitutional and unconstitutional to do this. And by not having body cameras on everyone, we're preserving democracy, which is what America's. But it's a new argument, so I'm going to move on. Oh, shit. There wasn't even a criterion, though.
You can't vote against me for
Whatever. Okay. You should vote neg because the affirmative team simply is being unconstitutional, and that's not good with their plan. With their plan, you can see that there's a potential of rebellion, civil war, a catastrophe that could occur, and that's not good because that means American lives are going to be lost. That means lots of lives are going to be lost, and they're essentially not going to save lives because lives are going to be lost if this continues, if their body camera plan continues on, because that's bad. And violence is still going to occur with body cameras. You can see, police brutality still happens, even if they have body cameras. Which leads me to our second. Wait, no, I'm not done. Okay. Yeah. So also, my partner also stated that you can't have you can't have a life without privacy. And essentially, and we also related this to North Korea, in which their ruler is essentially a dictator who just controls everyone and everything. And their entire country is living under a state of fear of the government and stuff like that. And North Korea essentially has is doing terribly right now. So, and the affirmative team simply, the only refutation they had to this was we don't really care. So, they don't care about North Korea. That means, never mind. But North Korea is bad, and we don't want America to be like that, and America has the potential to be like that if we have body cameras for everyone. Okay. And they're not going to save lives because, number 1, violence is still going to occur. And number 2, people are going to hate the government even more, which could potentially lead to even more violence and even more acts of anger and stuff like that. Our second voter issue, oh shit, I think it's okay. It's that it's a waste. It's a waste of people, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of energy because there are millions and millions of hours of footage that's going to come from these cameras. And what are we going to do with them? Okay, the only thing the affirmative team said was that they were going to have people watch them. What good is going to come out of people watching videos of other people doing things with their personal lives? This is all pretty new too, but okay, yeah. Also, these videos have proven not to even work in justice anyway, because there's still going to be racial discrimination, and like discrimination and stuff like that. So the whole point of having body cameras is so that we can have more justice in our system. And what the affirmative team is saying is that justice, or we're going to solve for everything, so there's going to be no violence anyway. We've already proven how there's still going to be violence, therefore there's still going to be the need of a justice system. So it's going to be a waste of time because there's still going to be like racism. Racism is a human thing. It's going to happen within like humans. So even if there's no Supreme Court or a court system, there's still going to be racism. They're not solving for anything. They're not even solving for lives. Disregard their entire case.
I don't like you.
Final voter issue. It does not solve. It just doesn't solve for anything. Everyone's gonna like join ISIS and bomb the whole country and it's gonna be terrible. Okay.
Hurry up, I have to go.
You have to go? Lily, am I done yet?
20 seconds.
I have 20 seconds? Okay. Some quick impact calculus. Time frame. I don't know. Probability. It's it's more probable that people are going to turn against the U.S. government than happily go along with body cameras. Magnitude. The magnitude of a huge rebellion is much worse than anything that the affirmative team can cook up. So, yeah. Vote that.
Okay. I'm gonna go case, and I'm not gonna stand up. Okay.
Yes, you are going to say.
All right, I'm standing up then. Okay. Yeah, right. Take my body checks. Okay. Okay. Case, voters, my voters. Okay. Okay, I strongly affirm today's resolution. Let's go over some brief reputations. This is the case, well, through to the debate. All right, first contention is national security. The last thing they said, oh, rebellion. Okay, with body cameras, you can't rebel because, like, literally the government is going to be like, no, and it's going to put stop that quickly. They're all going to say, rebellion. So, I'm advocating for a totalitarian society now. All right, anyways, they also said that, like, oh, there's going to be a rebellion. Okay, first of all, obviously it's not going to happen because we have body cameras. Second of all, like, did you see a rebellion after the NSA thing? No, you didn't, so, like, clearly not going to happen now. Anyways, Elaine said that, like, oh, we're going to cause U.S. sentiment to increase and we should try to fix the outside sentiment instead. Well, if we were talking about that, then we wouldn't be talking about this topic and I would be non-topical and then this would be a theory debate and I wouldn't appreciate that. Okay, also they said that, like, oh, now they can do what, yeah, they said that undocumented immigrants can do whatever they want. No, they can't. Whatever. Okay. Moving on to third contention about jobs. They said that, oh, nobody wants to do this job. Okay, literally, there are already people in the stats who literally watch, like, security footage for a living. So, like, there are going to be people who are going to do this job. This is a refutation to something that was brought up in the negation team's second speech. Moving on to address the negation team's case. All right, moving on to first contention was poverty. They said in their second speech that, like, there's going to be more distrust in the government, and that's bad. And they just said that, oh, because the government provides, and now people won't be happy. So the government will do whatever they want. How does this make sense? That doesn't make sense! It doesn't work like that! Okay, they also said that, like, oh, you can't live life without privacy. Okay, I literally don't give Perlin, like, any privacy with, like, her whole, like, you know, thing, right? And yet she's still living. I mean, clearly.
Also new.
Okay, this was brought up in the second speech.
New.
I get to refute this. Moving on to how people are going to be less productive. No, they're not, because they're going to be like, oh, the government is watching me. Better do more work, right? Because they're going to be actually motivated to work because they're going to be like, oh, the government doesn't think that I'm so lazy.
This is new.
Yeah. It was brought up in the second negation team speech. the probability that it's eventually going to be funded. By what? Just. It doesn't work like that. Okay. They also said that if people are scared by body cameras, there's still gonna be violence because people are gonna be in fear. They're literally gonna get punished for any acts of violence that they commit. They're not gonna be violent.
They're not gonna.
Okay, moving on to just some little thing on voter speech. They said, probability. Something about probability. Oh yeah, I already repeated this. Okay, moving on to my voter speech. Totalitarian societies are good. Like, hella good, right? We're gonna be saving lives. They literally don't impact anything. They don't impact out anything about, like, loss of free speech and unconstitutionality. They don't impact that out for you. So, totalitarian societies are good. The good that we're gonna be doing. Saving lives is the best thing in the round. And literally, they never tell you that the way that we save those lives, the way that, like, that freedom is better than lives. They never tell you that. So you should prefer the affirmative team's stuff. You should prefer the affirmative team. You should vote for us.
That's very.
I'm done now.
Wow. Good debate. Good debate. Here.
Daeny, I will send you what I'm expecting you to do by next practice via Facebook Messenger.
Bye, Daeny.
Unless you want to hang around here.
No, my mother said